Hello, Daisy.
Hello, Steve.
We had a couple technical difficulties, but we got it straightened out now. So you were going to tell me about your cat? I love
Oh, no,
cats, so.
cat. Your cat. I don't know who, I can't remember who I was texting, but like I think I was trying to say more, and like instead it autocorrected tomorrow.
Moro, it is
Like,
Moro. That was my
cat.
cat Moro. He passed away, unfortunately.
Great.
He
What a
lived 18 years though.
You're so lucky.
I have a new cat, Cam. I don't know where he is. He's only 2 years old, so he's a hellion. So his plan is being up all night and sleeping all day.
That is what they do.
It's my life. So we were when we started talking before, I was reminding you that you were on the first interview. It was the third show I ever did with the Homisides back in 2019 at the Azorian Cafe in Bloomfield, Pittsburgh section, in the Bloomfield section of Pittsburgh, and I'm sure you remember that.
Oh, I definitely remember that. Yes. Snow.
That was a lot of fun.
It was.
Um, and because we met at the Undead show, and then I loved you guys so much, I asked you guys to play the Animal Friends benefit, which you did. And then I saw you guys a third time in Millville. I don't remember the room. And
Hmm.
I've been a fan of you. I was a fan of the band, a big fan, because when the minute I heard ATA, I was like, oh yes, this is what we want. Fuck Trump.
That's right. Um, we still are laughing about that. Like, wow, it wasn't all supposed to be real. It was supposed to be a joke, and not like a joke, but like we were just, pulling on the extremities. But it wasn't supposed to be like this is what it is, and then it was what it was, and it was scary, and it's still scary, and getting scarier by the day.
It certainly is. Before we talk about Pittsburgh, where all that happened, tell me about growing up in DC. What was that like?
Growing up in DC, I think was great. I got to go to great schools because we had that magnet program down there that allowed you to um, go to the school that suited you best and study what suited you best. Even though my mom would not let me go to the arts school, I still to the college prep school, and it was good. It was, better education than I think a lot of people get to have. And, you know, um, I'm real proud of the education I got there. Plus, I had really awesome grandparents, my step grandparents, who were DJs, oldies DJs, old rockabilly people.
That's
And
cool.
yeah, so I mean, I learned a lot about music from them. They were a huge influence on me. And yeah, so growing up in DC was great, way more diverse than Pittsburgh, which is something I miss. But there's no perfect anywhere, but
Now you live. When did you actually move to Pitt? Did you go straight to Pittsburgh from DC, or were you somewhere else?
well, I we switched back and forth a couple times when I was like real young. And then when my parents divorced, we moved to Massachusetts for a little bit, which I probably heard you on the radio because we used to listen to your station. I would have been in like fifth grade. And then,
You mean WDJM?
yeah, I think so.
Where
Uh,
where were you located in Massachusetts?
we were in Hopkinton.
You did. Oh my God.
Uh,
Wow.
Hopkinton. So,
Hopkinton's right next to Framingham. At first, I
yeah,
was going to say there's no way you could have heard me there, but you absolutely could have heard me there. We
yeah.
must have talked about this
I
before.
must have brought it up to you because when I was telling my mom about you, and she's like, that's that station that we love. She's like, we drove into Massachusetts, and the first song I heard was Fuck the Police. And I just thought, station.
Wow, I forgot that you lived in Mass for a little while. So how old were you when you finally got to Pittsburgh? Well, now did you actually move into the city? Because I think what you're going to tell me is that you live outside of Pittsburgh, and that's where the really
Oh,
difficult
it
people.
it's a trash corner of the state. It's just really just garbage here. But like, yeah, I moved to Charleroi, which is about 40 minutes south of Pittsburgh when I graduated high school, like a couple days after I graduated. And so that was in 97. And just been in this area now since then. And looking forward to a move down to Memphis in the near to distant future.
Wow, that's interesting. Memphis is a great place.
Oh,
Much
it's
more diverse.
much more diverse, but also it loves and appreciates music, and that suits me very well.
I think I would have had a problem if I lived outside of the city, but I lived in Troy Hill. So I
Right.
was like right near, just go down the big hill and you're in downtown. So that was okay with for me, but whenever I ventured out, it's kind of here like that here too, You go
Yeah,
outside the city, it's a weird world out there right now.
definitely. I mean,
It's
the neighbor next door, the new guy moving in, or he's not even moved in. He has two Doug Mastriano signs up in his yard, and I definitely plan to vandalize them. But I come home from work tired and I fall asleep instead of sneaking out to write mean things on his signs.
I guess this is a good time for me to confess that I did rip a Trump sticker off a oversized pickup truck recently that was parked really close to me, and I figured the only way to really get him back was to rip the sticker off his car, which I did.
It it feels good, doesn't it?
It does. It feels real good. I used to be scared. I used to be kind of scared when I lived in Pittsburgh to venture out of the city because it's dark. It's
It is.
dark.
It is. I mean, you're definitely hated out here. Definitely, we don't feel well, Jimmy Bliss.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, neither of us feel okay here. We are not wanted. But um Memphis, we were like, oh, we're cool here. Like these people, they don't think we're weird at all. They're like, yeah, you should be with us. And it's like, yeah, we should be here with you. So
Well, you
yeah,
were you were cool when you were in Pittsburgh. I mean, we Howlers is where I saw you twice, and I don't remember that place in Millville that I saw the band, but um, people loved you guys. You guys were like great. I mean, when I first saw you, I remember being at the Bobby Steele from the Undead played, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, these guys are really cool. And then you guys rip out the Nervous Eater song, and I'm like, wow, holy shit!
oh,
Because like, it made me feel like I was home.
oh. Well, I was so excited. I haven't really been checking our social media much, but I did check in once recently and saw that the Nervous Eaters are following us, and it it was like so cool. But I'm like, oh, we're not doing that now.
Yeah, I had Brad, the bass player, on my show not too long ago, and he wasn't there when they recorded Just Head, but he's in the band now because that band's been around since the mid '70s.
it, it's weird to see them getting airplay, but I'm like happy about it.
Yeah,
Like,
me too. I am. I'm definitely. So with the homicides, like, well, you know what? Let's hold off on that for a second. So I want to talk about. I know you had a fanzine that was very popular. Talk
yeah.
about that. What that was like.
Um, well, okay, so I was I had to when I in 1998 I was like 18. So obviously I couldn't get into a lot of the shows in Pittsburgh that I wanted to see. And I had to figure something out because there was some really nice bands that would like say, "Oh yeah, you can do our merch or work the door for us." I would do anything to be in there. I didn't even have to see. I just needed to hear what was going on. And so, I was doing that work for them and like places like the Next Decade, the owners were super nice. They put all my employment information on file like I worked there, but I didn't. But they would just let me do the door sometimes just so I could be in there. I would sit outside if I had to, and just so I could hear the music. And but that was all really inconvenient. So the best way forward for that is to start a fanzine. So you have an absolute reason to be there. And eventually, well, we did one issue in print, and then the internet happened for real. Like I started to understand it, and we just went immediately to internet, because then I didn't have to do all the ad work, because that was the thing about the print scene, that just like I was like, I don't know if I want to do this, because I hate asking people for money for ads.
And
That's not
the name of the fanzine was
rock and roll truck stop.
Rock. Oh, that's what you're going to call your podcast, which we're going to talk about. Is that one issue like really valuable and hard to find?
I doubt it's valuable, but it probably is hard to find. I only have like two copies myself. I mean, I have all the stuff if I wanted to reprint, but yeah, are you still there?
Yes.
Drop the phone. Um,
Sorry.
but yeah, like I don't know, there was a lot of really cool stuff in there that, to me, not just valuable, but like it really means a lot. Like I did a thing on, do you remember, like being from Boston, do you remember the band the Pinkerton Thugs?
Yes, of course.
Okay. I had a little thing about Micah in there. He was in the Pinkerton Thugs, and also then the Racketeers, which
Racketeers were like one of the biggest rockabilly bands in Boston, period, to come out of Boston. They were huge. Dana from the
yeah,
Racketeers put on all these huge
he was
shows all the time.
he yeah, some of the stuff he did, just like event wise, was amazing, you
Like
know.
I was like when I moved back to Boston after living in LA and New York in 1990, or it was around 1998. I was booking this club for a while. I decided to try and be a booking agent, which is never fun. And I used to give those guys a night. The club held 300 people. There'd be 300 people there. It was the
Yeah.
Linwood in Boston.
Oh,
Their rockabilly shows were legendary.
yeah. Yeah, I've heard a lot about it. I never got to go. But yeah, so like, but like with Micah, that was like the central idea around it, was like, because I was such a big rockabilly fan, but there was Micah doing punk rock that I really, really loved. And so that was like what it was about. Like, okay, it doesn't all, sometimes things are just mixed. It doesn't all have to be one or the other. And that was the central idea around the zine, and something we talked in most of our interviews with the people about. Like, okay, you're considered a punk, but what are you really listening to? Okay, I see your cool nudie suit and everything, but like, what's up with your Agent Orange cover? So, I mean, that was like what the truck stop was about. Like, it was just all the things, like not just a rockabilly zine, not just a punk scene, not just a glam glitter magazine. We did all the things. And
That
then we, like, later on, when the superhero movies started, like, this was shortly before all the big superhero craze. Um, I started incorporating comic books and that culture into it too, and talking to the comic book creators about music. And
oh,
like that was really a fun little thing that we did for a little bit, and then the magazine just went under because I just didn't have the time. I was in school, and I wasn't giving my time to school like I needed to be, so it was one or the other. I let go of the magazine.
when did you start working at a record store, and what record store was it?
uh well, I that was 2018, I think, that
Oh, it was not that long ago.
yeah. No, but that was Rabbit Hole Records in Greensburg. I'm not actually sure whether they're open or not these days. Um, we're struggling just like a lot of small businesses. And so, yeah, like I left there last November, and I mean, it was a thing, but like also a little binding. You know, one of the things that I'm really looking forward to about doing my own podcast and not doing the band right now or anything is that I have this freedom. Like, I'm not tied to saying somebody's good when I think they're garbage, or, you know,
Right.
kissing somebody's ass who I don't even like in real life just to like go along to get along. I can do whatever the hell I want now.
You can
And
be more like Lester Bangs, and tell the truth, right?
people hate the truth. So, like, I don't believe in giving publicity to things I think are nasty or stupid or not worthy or not good. So, like, I know that there's that side where it almost looks like a PR rag, but I just think that if something sucks, don't play it. I'm
Well,
like
I
that
got
with
to tell you, I don't have people on my show that I don't really care for. I mean, I don't see the point in it because a lot of people do approach me, publicists, about certain things, and I'm always, I don't know about that. I try and get people I like you. That's why you're on the show because I like you. And that's the kind of people I want, or someone that's had a real long, interesting career. Even if I don't know them, but I think they're cool, I'll ask them. When you were growing up, I know I'm all over the place. This is typical for me. When you were growing up, what's the music you remember listening to that influenced that? You mentioned rockabilly. Was rockabilly your go-to
um
basically when you were a kid, like
well,
teenager?
yeah, like when I was a teenager, and like when I was younger, I mean, I liked a lot of what people would call oldies and stuff, like until I found Guns N' Roses. But my family, my dad and my mom had really great taste in music, and I was very lucky. So I knew a lot of music that the other kids didn't know. Actually, my mom even dated like the preeminent DJ of the legendary WHFS.
Really?
Yeah, she dated that guy briefly after my mom and dad broke up. But like, he played, and he's still on the air
What's
on
his name?
Weasel.
Oh yeah, I went to the WHFF HFS festival
Yeah.
way back in the day, and a guy I went to did college radio with, Rob Tim, was the
Oh
morning DJ.
my,
You
oh
know
my,
Rob?
I I don't know if you would remember me. I was so little, you know what I mean? Like, but yeah, I know, yeah, all those HFS people, like, I went to all the different HFS events, HF Festival and their winter things, and yeah, all these people. Rob Tim, holy crap.
Yeah, Rob and I did college radio together. We were in
Wow.
college together. Yeah, he's a great guy. He's still doing. He's on a different station now, and I can't remember the call letters. It's not a. I don't think HFS even is
Yeah.
around anymore, but it's a different station, and he's still at it. He's still at it. Um, so you said oldies and stuff. Well, so when HFS, they were like an alternative station. Is that when you kind of flipped over?
Yeah. I mean, but before that, they were doing that freeform thing like back in the early 80s. So, I mean, it was a lot of different types of music, like originally, kind of whatever the DJs thought was cool. And I think that's cool. And I miss that kind of radio. But I guess we have internet for that now. And
Yes,
I
we
post,
do.
my current favorite station is WMOT out of Nashville. Um, you know, it's verges on like NPR kind of stuff, but it's just music all day. And they have some really great DJs, and I oddly like their Sunday morning gospel show a lot. It feels good, get in the shower, do a little scrubby dubby, get a little you know.
I hung out in Memphis only a couple of times, but I was seeing a girl from Little Rock, which is right over the river there. And so I went into Memphis is just food, food and music
Food
is
and music.
fantastic there. Fantastic. I think you're gonna love it there. When are you heading down there?
I don't know. Right now my dad has been he was diagnosed with cancer earlier this year.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah. But and my mom moved to freaking Greensburg because when she got divorced, because she like didn't have I'm an only child. So this was the only place to go for her. And so she's got like a house she has to deal with because of me. And my dad, like, I mean, I'm going to be there for him no matter what he needs. Right now, yesterday, his things came back and he's in good shape. No further treatment needed for the time being.
Good.
But, and Jimmy's mom, she's 87. So,
Wow.
we'd like for her to move to Florida where the winters are less harsh. And then that's a matter of selling this house too. So not this year probably, but like soon, as soon as we're able. We've been looking at houses down there, and I have some friends down there. A guy I used to DJ with back in college, he has this fantastic tour company, and also is a musician down there. And
Do
he's
you want
interested.
to do you guys plan on playing? Like JB, I call Jimmy JB. You guys were,
Yeah,
played together. Do you plan on getting a new band
when
together?
I mean, from I don't know what the thought is, but I mean, as much as like I like writing with him, I think me and him being in a band together, just that's a non-starter at this point.
It's
Yeah,
honest.
I mean, I'm I'm definitely writing music and planning on playing music in the near to distant future, but it's hard because I'm saying I want to do it now. I would do it now if I could. But then I got to think to myself, well, those people aren't going to relocate with me. So then I'm starting all over anyway.
Do
But
you feel like the Homicides? I think you guys were together probably for what, 4 or 5 years?
actually it was more like 6, 7.
Six. Do you
It was a
feel like
long.
you? I mean, I know you had a decent buzz going, and do you feel like you accomplished what you wanted to accomplish with the band, or you feel like you kind of fell short?
Well, um I feel like we fell short. I definitely feel that. I feel it hard. Um, the album that we were getting ready to record was by far the best material we had. And it's just invite voice memos on my phone right now, which a little upsetting. But we got to do some really cool stuff, and I certainly don't regret a moment of it. There's a couple like pretty much anything that happened last year with the band. I have a lot of regrets about that, but
Well,
there's
the pandemic didn't really help you guys because I know you had a couple of good shows get canceled, and then that kind of like,
yeah, there was that, but then I don't know, like things got a little stupid in Pittsburgh after the pandemic, and it seemed like I don't know, it's like we came out of it more hated or something. I don't know what it was. It was like I had a different confidence about it. Like I felt like we were doing really good. And, you know, you get the jealous wankers who just sabotage, a little bit of sabotaging. But there was also a little bit of self sabotage going on because last year, like I guess it was June of last year, uh, the guy I would consider my mentor, he passed away, COVID related, of course. And I really didn't see a way forward until like early this year. I just didn't even know how to exist without him existing. He believed in me more than just about anybody. Um, so yeah, we fell short. I I'm not sure what else to say about that. I'm embarrassed about that.
well,
Sad.
don't be. I do have to ask you about one other thing about the Homicides, the song ATA, which is anti-Trump army. Tell my listeners, I know the story. You guys did a video, you put it on YouTube, and tell everyone what happened when you released that video.
Um, when we released that video, I mean, you know, we just needed to say something about it, and yes, it was a jokey song, but like not like it wasn't a joke, but it was jokey. It wasn't meant to be like anything. It was just like almost like a throwaway song when we wrote it. And then we like liked it so much that we did a lyric video for it. And that lyric video got like, you know, tens of thousands of views on YouTube, like quickly. Like people were really
I
hungry
remember.
about anti-Trump. We still keep getting put on different playlists around the world with that song, which is crazy. But like, I'm glad. And I'm glad that there's other people out there that share the same sentiments.
You guys
Just
were getting
song was
threats. You guys
true.
were getting threatened and stuff too from that, weren't you?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's a scary world out there, and like, you know, uh, taking away, I don't dare threaten anyone's freedom of speech, even people that I vehemently disagree with. I mean, I'm a big fan of the freedom of speech, and the fact of the matter is you are welcome to say anything you want to say, but then you have to accept that somebody's going to feel opposite, and they might say something really, really mean, which they do. And, I mean, I was threatened when I was campaigning for Barack Obama. Like, I, in my stupid, crappy small town, I was just going door to door for the campaign, which was the last time that I will ever go door to door for any campaign where people like say, if you don't get off my porch, I'm shooting you. It's like they probably said it more like, if you don't get off my porch, I'm shooting yins in the face. Not.
We had a visitor on our Zoom screen. I just noticed a
That's
cute orange cat stuck his head in there.
yeah.
Good timing. Um, well, I totally loved that you guys did what you did. And, but, everyone knows me as a pretty far left individual.
Yeah.
So, and I saw the comments and I followed along with it and I was blown away. But it also made me play the song on my show and like promote it because I think it's a good thing. I think we need to be aware of the fascism that is
Right.
going on out there. So I'm glad you guys did it. And
Aw.
I'm sorry that things didn't work out, but you know what? You're young and you're talented. And if you want to do another band at some point, I have no doubt in my mind that you will be able to do it.
Thank you, Steve. I mean, I'm definitely gonna do it. There's a stack of songs on my desk right now that I've written even since the homicide. So, plus, definitely, regardless, we are going to record that stuff some point. The last Homicides album, because I was so proud of those songs. I love them. I still love them. And some point we are going to record those. I would like to record it at Dale Watson's studio down there in Memphis.
Oh, yeah.
Place to record, I think. But that's neither here nor there.
I want to ask you about Pittsburgh for a minute because you knew all the bands and have you been going to any shows? Did you start going to shows again? Is there anything going on there that's worth telling me about?
That's a tricky question. I am at a strange point. I won't go to shows here anymore. I don't see bands around here. I know that sounds, well, there's just a certain thing that's, emotional, and also like, just like kind of like a shut off mechanism of mine. So I'm not anti going to see bands. I just don't want to see them in Pittsburgh or around here.
Are
I
you
don't.
listening to a lot of music?
Oh my God. Am I listening to a lot of music?
I
I listen
decided to really change the subject fast there.
to a lot of a stupid amount of music. Like, It's just what that's what I do. I listen to a stupid amount of music.
Give me a couple bands that you've been listening to lately that you're digging.
Um, Sarah Borgia is her well, she's kind of a solo artist, but she's been playing with Eric Campbell of the Del Lords, and he recorded that album, and it's pretty fantastic stuff. I gotta say, I really like that. Um, Also, oh goodness, who have I been? Um, there's a fella named Paul Cathan who they play on Outlaw Country a lot, and Gimme Country Radio, which is another great outlet for finding music for me. I've been listening to that a lot. I've really been um down the roads of country and rockabilly a lot more.
Wow. Interesting.
I think I got burnt out on punk. I like consume too much punk, if that's a thing. And it just like I feel like hungover or something from it.
A
Like
punk hangover.
like puking punk right now. Like I needed
I'm I'm sorry I wore a circle jerk shirt today. I
no,
apologize.
I was just talking the other day about the circle jerks, about how much I love them, and oddly enough, I even had somebody at work who like was aware of them, which is shocking at a dry cleaner. Um, I whatever, man.
I saw them. I saw them a few weeks ago with
Oh,
7 Seconds and Negative Approach. It was absolutely
love
incredible
them.
show.
I love all of them. Homicides almost did a version of 7 Seconds, Young Till I Die.
Oh,
Mixed
nice.
with We Can't Stop by Miley Cyrus, like a match of two songs. But like I don't never panned out, but it sounded really good.
All right, before I let you go, just talk about Truck Stop Podcast and when you think you're going to get the ball rolling and what your plans are for it.
Well, my plans are as soon as I figure out this stupid software, it's ready to go. I have like 10 to 12 episodes like lined up with notes and everything. I'm ready to go. It is definitely a mix. I consider myself to have like some of the best music of like anybody in the entire world. And yeah, I mean, it's rockabilly based, but there's also punk rock and good healthy helping of like glam rock too, like 70s kind of glam. It's just kind of all over the place. Like I think there's a little something for everybody, but it's got a lot of swag. Like I'm big on swag. And so there's a lot, you're going to hear a lot of old doo-wop and old blues and maybe a little 1920s jazz. It's kind of, it all relates in my head. Like it all functions together. And I hope I can give people some, new things to check out, because that's how I find music. Like I just like go to where people like have some taste and dig around in their brains and their collections and see what they have, and they're welcome to do the same with me. And so that's the Truck Stop Pod. Not quite sure where it's airing. I was planning on Mixcloud, but this Anchor might be a possibility too.
Well, I'm excited for it. I can't wait. I'll be a fan. I'll be
Oh,
following you and
well,
listening. I've always thought you were cool. That's why I wanted you back on my show for a second time.
you're the best, man.
And I'm anxious to hear what happens with your future move to Memphis, because I think it's a good move. And anything that you do, you just please just keep in touch with me and let me know what's going on.
Oh,
Because I'm a fan.
I'm a fan of yours. So absolutely.
It's a love fest.
It is. It's a big love with clothes on.
Well, thank you, Daisy.
Thank you, Steve.
All right, we'll talk soon.
All right. Cheers,
See ya.
man.